Welcome everybody to April's Instructors Forum. It's so good to see you. And the Instructors Forum is a wonderful place for us to get together, to talk to each other, to share knowledge and ideas and friendship. And if you want to bring more people in, anyone is welcome, but it is primarily for our Tai Chi for Health instructors. And there are, I just give you a brief idea of what we're going to do. My first thing, I will introduce my special speaker, and then I will talk too, and our topic would be how to use visualization to improve your Tai Chi. And then after we talk, we'll take questions on the topic. After that, we'll take questions on anything. And there will be times for us to get to know each other. We'll put you into small groups. You get to meet people from different parts of the world, different parts of USA. Usually we have about 10 people from 10 countries joining us. It's really fun to meet people from upside down, like me, down under. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Bob McBrien. Bob is a PhD psychologist, and he also is a master trainer. He teaches Tai Chi for many years. He's a friend for many years. I learned so much from him. In fact, every now and then he sent me a wonderful book that I learned a lot. I'm really interested in the mind. And so he's a very special person that I think you will find the same, that you can learn a lot from him. So here's Bob.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thanks for the invitation. You know, I'm supposed to be fully retired, although I keep busy, but when I have a chance to do something that is part of all of my experience, training, and interest, you know, it's a gift. So I really appreciate it. So the concept of visualization is very big in sports psychology and also performance psychology, so that it's a tool in a toolbox for people who are training to deliver what in sports psychology we call a peak performance. So to improve Tai Chi, one of the things about Tai Chi is being very, very focused on practice and classes, and again, with the notion of visualization after a 1 hour class and getting back home and trying to remember and trying to go out in a space in your house or yard and practice. Visualization gives us an opportunity to practice, and we can be seated or even lying down. And so what I want to do is to offer you an experience with what we call deliberate practice or deep practice. So I'm going to have you experience steps that are known and researched to show folks who want to perform at a better level or higher level can improve way beyond ordinary practice all alone out in your yard or on your deck. And so I'll give you the steps. And the first one, it sounds like a Tai Chi class. The first one is preparation. So the most important thing is that you get yourself ready to do something very simple, sitting and eyes closed and using imagination. So in order to do a simple but deliberate practice, we want to kind of shut the world off, no distractions, and we want to prepare with the ingredients that are familiar when we do Tai Chi. And first one is correct posture. So in a chair, feet flat on the floor, sitting up straight. Correct breathing. The breathing that we do is Dantian breathing. And then being centered and also grounded. So one of the ways to be centered is to just focus clearly on the goal or purpose for why you're going to sit for 10 minutes or so. And then grounded is the idea your feet are flat on the floor and you feel, the ground. We live in our heads with so much screen time. So we want to sit and eyes closed. And then I'm going to remind you that we can put our tip of our tongue on the roof of our mouth, right where it touches when we say the letter L. And then we can go through a nice visualization experience. And of course, we're going to have a warm up. So if you're kind of willing to do this, or you want to just observe, just have a sense of sitting, body upright, breathing slowly, deeply, and evenly. And as a warm up, I'm going to have you, with your eyes closed, imagine that you're stepping through your front door and in your home. And then I want you to count the windows. Now you can stay in one place or you can walk through and count all the windows that are on the first floor. So how did that go? So for some people, they have a very clear image and some have to kind of work at it. But the goal is that you have a sense of, I'm going to say, remembering where all the windows are. And that is visualization. Now we're going to move from a warming up, very, very familiar, to doing visualization in order to improve our practice. So I've done a simple thing. I think most people would be familiar with it, but from the Tai Chi for arthritis and fall prevention, I've selected form number 6, and it's brush knee. And I'm going to invite you to do something that I'm doing with my students and myself, and that is we're going to just do the stepping of brush knee. And when we do this, I have learned to call this no arms Tai Chi, because we're going to work on improving the flow of taking that simple step, which sometimes takes a lot of time to make go smoothly. So if you think about it, with your eyes closed, you're going to find yourself just remembering or being there. What we call anchor form is what Paul calls the prayer position. And now we're going to take that 90-degree step to the right, and we go into a bow stance, and then the follow step. So kind of take a breath and let that go away and come back to the prayer posture. And then I'll be quiet and you can go through that brush knee one more time. Now, when you do that kind of an experience, if we were to kind of what is called unpack it, there are so many things that are happening that people are writing their master's theses about what happens physically, emotionally, your nerve system. And we just don't have time to even spend a little bit with the things that are happening. But essentially, when you see yourself, feel yourself, imagine yourself, visualize yourself doing brush knee, all the nerves that are required to move the muscles correctly fire up at a very, very low level. It's called subliminal. So that's a visualization. As children, we did it all the time. You can use it in many, many ways. And if you are working on something in the set that is challenging, there's ways for you to learn to improve upon that movement with just visualization. So we're going to finish my little experience with just taking about 3 deep Dantian breaths, nice and long, nice and slow, nice and deep. And as you exhale, just allow yourself to feel your whole body, head to toe, relaxing. And then give yourself a nice stretch and come back to being here in this world. That's visualization. You do it so many different ways. My daughter took a workshop with me and she visualized. I said, "What did you do? You didn't do Tai Chi, did you?" She was 16 and she said, "I was visualizing parallel parking. I'm taking the driving test next week." So those are the ways that she was using it. So Paul, I've finished my time and I guess we'll wait for Q&A later on.
Thank you, Bob. I really like you taking us through it. I just like to say a little bit to supplement and expand on what Bob's saying. What I understand, Bob started with talking about the sports, the coaching, using visualization. I like you to imagine these athletes. People, for example, one of my participants used to compete in Olympics. You train all your life, and only once every 4 years you get to go to Olympics. Now, so you really can't have lots of experience going to Olympics because the next 4 years your peak form might be gone. So a lot of things, and so as other sports, there's a critical moment that is so important, but you can't always practice things. I used to go ice skating and imagine the triple jump. That is so hard. Even the top athletes in the world-class competition can fall down, but you can practice it a lot because it's risk and you get tired. So that is where the visualization is so powerful to help them. Your brain doesn't know you are actually jumping or you're thinking about it. And when you use visualization with the technique Bob mentioned, you are there, you have the emotions, your brain fibers are fire in the lower level, but it's there. So you have been Olympics hundreds of times already, and when you get there, you are not so nervous, you're able to perform better. As well as that, there's an emotional effect. Everything we did, like now I'm talking to you all, even though you're my friends, I still feel a little nervous, even though I did lots of talking. So last night before I sleep, I went visualizing how we're going to do this, what I'm going to say, at least the first few minutes. And that helped me, because last night I visualized this is going to be a great meeting, and I'm going to do my best. And I think that really helped me this way. So visualization is like preparing your brain, setting up the positive path. And then when you when you do it lots of times, you can follow that well, and you can perform, like Bob was saying, better than you could with visualization practice. So I want to just follow Bob's thought about brush knee, because when I teach exploring the depth of Tai Chi for arthritis, I talk about brush knee many times, hundreds of times. But I also visualize it. It looks so simple. So as a lot of our Tai Chi. So my tendency is I do things fast. So when you close your eyes and visualize, you will finish your brush knee too quick. However, if you apply a Tai Chi principle, when you get step 1 open up your hands and visualize you doing that. Put your heel down and then your foot, and then visualize it in the normal speed that you're going to practice. So the principle of moving slowly, smoothly, continuously, and you can practice that principle for maybe a whole set of Tai Chi for arthritis. And then maybe next time you have another principle you want to practice, body upright with your breathing. So with visualization, you can't really go wrong, and it's also extremely useful for people who's got an injury or a disability. That is why when I travel around the world, I often met people who come up to me and say, "Hey, Dr. Lam, look at me. I'm walking my walking sticks. Last year, I was practically live on my wheelchair." And how did they get there? Because they use our Tai Chi and they use visualization when they cannot walk. And that not only the brain fiber fires, also when you visualize it, your muscles of the area actually are activated to roughly 30% of its normal way. But by firing the muscles, the brain, you have a pattern. You know how the more we do something, especially Tai Chi, the better we become, and the better we at doing it and getting to deeper of it. Well, that's got to do with the brain learning. So if your brain repeating exercise, and then you infuse principles, infuse where you want to be. If you want to lift your feet a little higher, if you visualize it, then your brain, your muscle already have some practice. When they need actually doing it, you can really follow that path in improving it. So once you use this technique, you'll find you use it anyway in other occasions, like Bob was mentioning, even when we were as a kid. But if you look into the technique and think of what we were talking about, feel the emotion, prepare, do your exercise, and like Tai Chi, spend a little time practicing it. And this way of practice complement your physical practice and extend our ability to understand and to move better. It's like visualization is like setting a positive path. If you think you can't do this, you set up a negative path and your brain tends to follow that way. But if you set up a positive path, and I'm going to be able to do this, I'm going to be able to do that, and I'm going to stretch this far, and that set up in your brain and prepare your muscles, then you have a much better chance of getting there.